Right there, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson, review of Manchester United's first Premier League victory of this season against Burnley. Obviously, I've managed to grab the game now. It's late, innit? I mean, the game finished a good couple of hours ago. But I've only managed to catch the game now because we had our own game at 3 o'clock. Two undefeated sides going, well, two perfect records. Our opposition, Liverpool-based team, they were 6-0, and we were 5-0. We've just gone and won 1-0. Really strong performance from us. But that being said, I've had to catch up on what's happened with United, and my initial thoughts on the balance of things. We actually created loads more chances. We got into dangerous areas. We created a lot more than I think I expected us to, actually, against Burnley. We forced Burnley into a lot of last-ditch defending, a lot of blocks, and this wasn't like Burnley. You can see way more attacking patterns. There was a lot more link-up play. There was a lot more fluidity. There was a lot more cohesion in that final third play. And Mbeumo gave us a real outlet. Bruno looked like he was able to get a little bit further forward and dictate. Even Xerxes put himself about a little bit. 20-plus shots certainly isn't toothless. Finishing probably wasn't clinical, but we consistently carved Burnley open. I liked how many crosses were happening in the final third, how many passes, how many through balls, that sort of stuff. And I thought Mbeumo's goal kind of epitomised that a little bit. Sort of style of finishing that we've been missing, I would argue. Bruno deserves a little bit of credit. Big moments, especially on the back of, how his last couple of weeks has gone, dragging us through it. And even Mbeumo, actually, Mbeumo being the one that misses the penalty on Wednesday, being the one that gets, the only open play goal, technically, for us. Not all good, though. Cunha going off injured, and even Mount. Don't know how long they're going to be out. Not good. Certainly feel like Cunha could be out for a little bit of a while. But we kept trying to find ways to pressure him, and we kept pushing forward, and I got a lot of confidence from how we opened Burnley up in that game, I think. Now, again, like I said, it wasn't all good, and it wasn't just the injuries, because we are suspect defensively. It worries me how little Burnley had to do to score. Both the goals were avoidable. Bryan Mbeumo is not the answer. I know a lot of people really, really bag on Onana, and that was justified on Wednesday night. But you're going to find yourself in a situation now where you're just swapping in and out the goalkeeper, unless you bring San Lemon in. You bring San Lemon in, you can change the narrative on this one a little bit, but you can't be going into games needing 3 goals to get a win. That is not sustainable. You can't do that. You've got to be able to keep clean sheets, because we're giving teams opportunities to score not just a goal, but 2 or more from our lapses, and that's a trend. If you looked across all of our goals that we've conceded this season, they're all very, very similar. That's got to be addressed. And Bryan Mbeumo just simply does not convince me in the slightest. Errors change games, and he gave Burnley some belief in that game. The crowd knew it. Burnley knew it. I think even he looks like he knew it, in all honesty. Ruben Amorim has to address that. Because when you keep us nervous, it starts to spread. And if he doesn't address that, it doesn't matter. You can't expect the attack to score 3 goals a week to win your games. That's going to be our undoing. And United did play well. From an XG point of view, we had 3.5 XG. From an eye test point of view, the attacking forward was lively. We linked up nice. We created a volume of chances that usually wins a game by 2-3 goals. Now, just because of how bad we were defensively, goalkeeping jitters, inability to deal with crosses and set plays, we find ourselves needing to rely on a 97th minute penalty to come away with the 3 points. But ultimately, we deserved a win. But it don't feel secure, and the defensive side is miles away from being sorted. But it's the similarity of the way that we concede chances that I find the most worrying thing here. The similarity of how often we're vulnerable from crosses, and you think that has to be something you can address, should address with coaching. Like, this is one that you can get on a training ground. Now, I'm not actually sure how many of our players have even had England call-ups. We haven't really got that many England internationals in the team. I don't know how many other nationalities we've got in the team that have been called up for their national teams. It would very much benefit us, one, to get San Lameno over the line, and two, to get on the training ground and spam crosses in against us until we're better at dealing with it, because that is absolutely going to be our undoing. I still think we look fragile against quick counters. I still think we are pressing a little bit from that centre. But I'm going to do a couple of vids looking at different stuff about that this week, because we've got time and we've got no game and I need content. So what I'm going to do is use the preview sort of template with the sort of motion graphics, and I'm going to look at that. I'm going to do what I think our best starting 11 is. I'm going to look at how to fix some of the issues that we've got. I'm going to do all of that because we've got time, because it's 2 weeks now until our next game, and it's Manchester City away, and boy, is that gonna be a shagging if we don't fix this issues, because it's not a singular issue here at play, is there? Burnley fans are losing their mind over correct decisions, albeit close ones. Now, in my opinion, the offside especially, the offside one, when you're going down to things like that, they are onside. I empathise with them, but the rules being what they are, he's offside. That's the rules. United have had that ourselves, where it's just been utter nonsense that's been given as offside, or shit VAR results. I personally think the rules should be rewritten. I think there needs to be daylight, or there needs to be at least, fat lines. I said that so many times, haven't I? Fat lines for all, right? I think there needs to be like fat lines, and if the lines intersect, call it a margin for error line, if you like. Because what is the spirit of the offside rule? The spirit of the offside rule is someone gaining an unfair advantage. There is no unfair advantage when a little bit of your bicep is a little bit further away than my chest. That's, especially that you could be in the middle of a sprint and bring your arm up like that, when actually our chests and hips and fucking heads are entirely level. And that's not just a United thing. United aren't the only team that's benefited from that shit. There's been so many teams that have benefited from that in particular rule that we've got to go look at it. And actually, IFAB, the people who make the rules, they actually said you should be able to glance at it, and if it's an obvious, oh yeah, actually he's offside, then cool. But because offside isn't down for interpretation, and there is you can get down to the pixel and go, well, there you go, there's a pixel here that's in front of all of those pixels, therefore he's offside. But IFAB literally said, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be drawing the lines. Or if you are going to draw the lines, like I said, give it a big margin for error. I don't know, look at what the average depth of a person's chest is, right? And then call it that, or something like that. You know what I mean? And make that your lines. So if the two lines are touching, well, there's no unfair advantage being gained, because you for all intents and purposes, you're level, aren't you? Anyways, very proud of my boys today. Buzzing for United. Just sitting here having a KFC. I'm absolutely knackered. R5 was a long time ago, and we are out on the trail again in the morning. So, drop any questions you've got in, any comments, anything, and I'll address some of those in the morning's video. And then there'll be 5 things and player ratings and all that sort of stuff comes out tomorrow. But otherwise, take it easy. It's Saturday night. Paddock have won. We don't technically go top of the league, because the team that we've just beat have got 10 plus goal difference on us in 6 games. But we are one of only 2 teams with a perfect record. There's another team that's got a perfect record, and we play them in 2 weeks. Looking forward to that one as well. How long can we stay undefeated for? Don't know. But that was a very difficult game that today, and we did well holding on. We absolutely did well holding on there. So very proud of my boys. The work we did on the training ground specifically, showing up today. Love that when that happens. Said to the lads, I said to them in the pre-match talk, my team talk, I said, do you think you'll keep a clean sheet here today? And there was a bit of a murmur of no. And I said, honestly, I don't think you will. And the reason I said that is I was hoping to stick it in their heads that when that opposition score, I didn't want our heads to completely fall off. So I was kind of like, nah, we're going to need a couple of goals to win today anyway. I said, look, if you do keep a clean sheet, you've definitely won, because you will score against these. They're not going to shut you out, because we're good, we create chances, we will always score. So if you do keep a clean sheet, you've absolutely 100% won this game. And the keeper's Spanish and he's off his nut. And he's going, hey, mister, I'm going to have a perfect game. And I'm going to keep clean sheet. And he was right, and he was man of the match. So, good day out by all. But yeah, very proud of the lads today. Not quite top of the league, but we're in the driving seat. Love it. See you in a bit.